This is video in a playlist. This is the Flat Earth playlist. This is a dinner plate that my friend Todd Morgans and Tracy Jones gave to me because I am separated from everything I own due to domestic violence and I didn't have a plate. Anyway, I took a dry erase marker and I drew. I didn't draw 7 continents, but I drew some land. And if I wake up early in the middle of the night, I will be doing another, experiment with you. This is, you can see that the flashlight, the light doesn't light up the whole place at the same time, Anyway, the message of this story is that the earth is flat and we have tectonic plates. Plates, not bowls. We have tectonic plates, okay? So I know that this is just sitting here like that, but I am going to read you, maybe I'll just point it, over to my website. How about that? How about that? My website, where science meets religion. .blogspot.com. This is where I'm reading from. I am going to read to you nothing from the Bible today. I'm reading a piece of AI regarding these tectonic plates. We don't believe in tectonic bowls. We believe in tectonic plates, flat plates. Okay, I'm just going to read you, probably going to butcher some of them, the information that I found on tectonic plates. Okay? It says the plates comprise the bulk of the continents and the Pacific Ocean. For the purpose of this list, a major plate is any plate with an area greater than 20 million km squared. I'm not going to try to figure out how big that is, but this is what it says. There's an African plate, which is a major tectonic plate underlying Africa west of the East African Rift. It's 61,300,000 km squared. We have an Antarctic plate, a tectonic plate containing Antarctica and the surrounding ocean floor, which is 60,900,000 km squared. We have the Eurasian plate, which is a tectonic plate, which includes most of the continent of Eurasia, 67,800,000 km squared. We have an Indo-Australian plate, which is a major tectonic plate formed by the fusion of the Indian and Australian plates, which is 58,900,000 km squared, often considered to be 2 plates. We have those 2 plates that they consider them would be the Australian plate, major tectonic plate, originally part of the ancient continent of Gondwana. How about that? 47,000,000 km squared. And an Indian plate, which is a minor tectonic plate that got separated from Gondwana, 11,900,000 km squared. And then we have the North American plate, which is a large tectonic plate, including most of North America, Greenland, and parts of Siberia, 75,900,000 km squared. And a Pacific plate, oceanic tectonic plate under the Pacific Ocean, 103,300,000 km squared. And South American plate, which is a major tectonic plate, includes most of South America and a large part of the South Atlantic, 43,600,000 km squared. And then we have some minor plates. We have smaller plates that often not shown on the major plate maps. Majority do not comprise the significant land area, and for the purposes of this plate, a minor plate is a plate with any area that is less than 20 million km squared, but still greater than 1 million km squared. So these minor plates include the Somali plate, a minor tectonic plate, including the east coast of Africa and the adjoining seabed, 16,700,000 km squared. Nazca plate, which is an oceanic tectonic plate in the eastern Pacific Ocean Basin, 15,600,000 km squared. Indian plate, which is a minor tectonic plate that got separated from Gondwana, 11,900,000 km squared. An Amazon plate, a minor tectonic plate in East Asia. A Sunda plate is a plate including most of Southeast Asia. Philippine Sea plate, oceanic tectonic plate to the east of the Philippines, 500,000 km squared. Okhotsk plate is a minor tectonic plate in Asia. Arabian plate, 500,000 km squared. Yangtze plate, small tectonic plate carrying the bulk of southern China. A Caribbean plate, mostly oceanic tectonic plate, including part of Central American Caribbean Sea, 300,000 km squared. Cocos plate is a young oceanic tectonic plate beneath the Pacific Ocean on the west of the Central America, 900,000 km squared. The Caroline plate is a minor oceanic tectonic plate north of New Guinea, 700,000 km squared. The Scotia plate, minor oceanic tectonic plate between South America and the Antarctic plates, which is 600,000 km squared. The Burma plate is a minor tectonic plate in Southeast Asia, 100,000 km squared. And the New Hebrides plate, minor tectonic plate in the Pacific Ocean near Vanuatu, is 100,000 km squared. And then we have a couple of microplates. These are plates that are often grouped with an adjacent major plate on the major plate map, and for this purpose, a microplate is any plate with an area less than 1 million km squared. Some models identify more minor plates with the current orogens, events that lead to a large structural deformation of the Earth's lithosphere, like the Aleutian Explorer Gorda and the Philippine Mobile Belt plates. There may be scientific consensus as to whether such plates should be considered distinct portions of the crust. New research could change this list, but these microplates include the Adriatic plate, known as the Apulian plate, a small plate in the Mediterranean. The Lawando plate, major tectonic microplate off the southeast coast of Africa, coast of Africa. Madagascar plate is a tectonic plate formerly part of the supercontinent Gondwana. Now, we heard of the supercontinent a long time ago as Pangea. They're calling it, AI here is calling it Gondwana, Gondwana. There's a plate called the Rovuma. It's one of 3 tectonic microplates that contribute to the Nubian plate and the Somalian plate. Victoria microplate, Seychelles microcontinent. We have an Antarctic plate, which is consistent of the Kerguelen Plateau. Now, I just read a book, I think it was Jules Verne's Antarctic Mystery of the Sphinx, they were on that Kerguelen Plateau, I believe. This is an oceanic plate in the southern Indian Ocean. The Shetland plate is microplate off the tip of the Antarctic Peninsula. Now, the Antarctic is a whole different thing, maybe what we're talking about on this plate here, because the Arctic Circle, might go right around. The lip of this plate really might be an ice wall, with the dome right over it. But we'll see. How about South Sandwich plate is a tectonic plate south of the South American plate. We have a Australian plate, which includes the Capricorn plate. How cool is that? Which is a minor tectonic plate under the Indian Ocean. The Futuna plate, it's a very small tectonic plate near the South Pacific island of Futuna. We have the Kermadec plate, is a long, narrow plate west of Kermadec Trench. A Minook plate is in western New Guinea. A Niofua plate is in the west of Tonga. The Tonga plate is a small southwestern Pacific tectonic plate. The Woodlark plate is a small tectonic plate in the eastern half of the island of New Guinea. We have a Caribbean plate, which is the Panama plate, is a small tectonic plate in Central America. The Gonav microplate is part of the boundary between the North America plate and the Caribbean plate. South Jamaica microplate, North Hispaniola microplate, and the Puerto Rican Virgin Islands microplate. The Cocos plate has the Rivera plate, which is a small tectonic plate off the west coast of Mexico. The Eurasian plate has the Aegean Sea plate, known as the Hellenic plate, a small tectonic plate in the eastern Mediterranean Sea. The Anatolian plate is a continental tectonic plate comprising most of Anatolia, Asia Minor, and Peninsula. The Banda Sea plate, minor tectonic plate underlying the Banda Sea in Southeast Asia. Iberian plate, a small tectonic plate now part of the Eurasian plate. The Iranian plate is a small tectonic plate including Iran and Afghanistan, parts of Iraq and Pakistan. Molucca Sea plate is a fully submerged tectonic plate near Indonesia. The Halmahera plate is a plate in Molucca Sea. Sangani plate is the microplate with the Molucca Sea collision zone of the eastern Indonesia. Okinawa plate is a minor tectonic plate from the northern end of Taiwan to the southern tip of Kashua. Pelso plate is a small tectonic unit in the Pannonian Basin in Europe. The Timor plate is a microplate in Southeast Asia carrying the island of Timor and surrounding islands. The Tiza plate is a tectonic plate in the present-day Europe. Nazca plate. The Cobaya plate, is a small tectonic plate off the coast of the South Panama and Northwest Colombia. Malpelo plate is a small tectonic plate off the coast of West Ecuador and Colombia. We have a North American plate called the Queen Elizabeth Island subplate, small tectonic plate containing the Queen Elizabeth Islands of northern Canada. Greenland plate is supposed tectonic plate containing Greenland craton. I looked up the word craton. Craton said it's a large, ancient, stable core of a continent characterized by a thick, old crystalline basement rock like granite or gneiss. It remained mainly undisturbed of activity for years. Deep keels extending into the mantle, geologically strong. We got an explorer plate. It was an oceanic tectonic plate beneath the Pacific Ocean off the west coast of Vancouver Island in Canada. The Gorda plate, one of the north remnants of the Farallon plate. The Pacific plate, comprised of the Balmore Reef plate in South Pacific north of Fiji. Bird's Head plate, incorporating Bird's Head Peninsula at the western end of the island of New Guinea. Oh, the fucking phone. Hold on. What? Hello?
It's JD Vance is serving food. I'll be serving food right next to JD Vance.
Oh my god, JD Vance is serving food.
Yeah. It's fucking crazy, dude. I'll be
When, tomorrow?
next week. Yeah, it's crazy, huh?
All right, that's crazy. All right, I gotta go.
I'll send you a picture of it.
All right. Let's see. Where was I? Oh yeah, Bird's Head Plate, western end of the island of New Guinea. The Conway Reef Plate, small tectonic plate in South Pacific west of Fiji. The Easter microplate, small tectonic plate west of Easter Island. Galapagos microplate, very small tectonic plate at Galapagos Triple Junction. Juan de Fuca plate in the eastern North Pacific, 250000 km squared. Yeah, that's small. Okay, Juan Fernandez plate in the southern Pacific Ocean. Koala plate, oceanic tectonic plate under the northern Pacific Ocean, which has been subducted into the northern American plate. A Manus plate, tiny tectonic plate northeast of New Guinea. North Bismarck plate, small tectonic plate in Bismarck, Sea of New Guinea. North Galapagos microplate, small tectonic plate off the west coast of South America, north of the Galapagos Islands. Solomon Sea Plate is a minor tectonic plate to the northwest of the Solomon Islands in the South Pacific. South Bismarck Plate, small tectonic plate in the southern Bismarck Sea. Mariana Plate is part of the Philippine Sea Plate. It's a small tectonic plate west of the Mariana Trench. And the Philippine Mobile Belt, known as the Philippine Microplate Complex, portion of the tectonic boundary between the Eurasian Plate and the Philippine Sea Plate, comprising most of the country of the Philippines. And then there's the South American Plate, which is the Altiplano Plate, Falklands Microplate, North Andes Plate, small tectonic plate in northern Andes, mainly in Colombia, minor parts of Ecuador and Venezuela. And the Chibcha Terrain in the Andean region, Caribbean Terrain, Eastern Caribbean region, Tahemi Terrain, Central Andean region. It says history of the Earth. Many tectonic plates have come into existence and, over intervening years, either accreted onto other plates to form larger plates, rifted into smaller plates, or have been crushed by subducted other plates. And there's a supercontinent. What's that say? It says ancient supercontinents, landmasses that are more than one continent or craton. Supercontinent cycle was a quasi-period of aggregation and dispersal of the Earth's continental crust. The following list includes supercontinents known or speculated to have existed in the past. Okay, so supercontinents. Colombia was a supercontinent, ancient supercontinent. 2500 to 1500 million years ago. Euro-America. Okay, there's that Gowanda, which is Neoprotozoic to Cretaceous landmass. How about this one? Kenor land is a hypothetical Neo-Archean supercontinent. Yeah, Laurasia, northern supercontinent that formed part of the Pangaea supercontinent. Nena, an early Proterozoic supercontinent. Pangaea is a supercontinent from the late Paleozoic to the early Mesozoic eras. Pannotia is a hypothesized Neo-Proterozoic supercontinent from the end of Precambia. Is that stuff real? Proto-Laurasia. Rodina is a hypothetical Neuroproterozoic supercontinent. Yeah. Ur. How about that? Ur's in the Bible. Job was from the land of Ur. According to this, Ur was a proposed Archean supercontinent. It says 3 billion years ago. We don't know about that. Valbara supercontinent. And then we have ancient plates and cratons. Not all plates and boundaries are easily defined, especially with ancient pieces of crust. The following list of ancient cratons, microplates, shields, terrans no longer exist as separate plates. Cratons are old and the most stable part of the continent's lithosphere. Microplates are tiny tectonic plates. Terranes are fragments of crustal materials formed on one tectonic plate and accredited to crust lying on another plate. Zones are bands of similar rock on a plate formed by terrain accretion, native rock formation. These are ancient plates. Atlantica, Bang Welu Block, Congo Craton, African Republic, the Democratic Republic of Democratic Republic of Congo, Gabon, Sudan, Zambia. That's the African. No, that's the whole crate, I think. The Congo Craton is the African Republic, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Gabon, Sudan, and Zambia. The Kabul Craton, possibly part of the Valbara supercontinent in South Africa. Kalahari Craton, Botswana, Namibia, Zimbabwe. Sahara Metacraton, Zimbabwe Procraton, Tanzania Craton, West African Craton, Precambria Basement Rock of Africa, West African Craton. That's crazy, isn't it? You want to keep going with this? Zimbabwe Craton, Antarctic Plate, Bellingshausen Plate, Charcot Plate, East Antarctic Shield, Phoenix Plate, Jurassic through Cenozoic time, the Eurasian Plate, Amorica, Avalonia. Okay, Avalonia is a microcontinent in the Paleozoic era named for the Avalon Peninsula in Newfoundland, Canada, Great Britain, and the United States. There's a Baltic Plate, Belomorian Craton, Central Iberian Plate, Cimarron Plate, East China Craton, East European Craton, Baltic Shield, Jungar Plate, Hunnic Plate, Karelian Craton, Kazakhstania, geological region in Central Asia, and the Jungar Basin in China, the Kola Craton, Lhasa terrain is in southern Tibet, Massif Central, southern France, Molnubian Plate, formed during the Variscan or the Hercynian orogeny. I have no idea what that is. The Morio-Silician Plate, Midlands Microcraton, North Atlantic Craton, North China Craton, Piedmont Liguria Plate, Reno-Sinea Plate, Samaritan Craton, Saxo-Thuraganan Plate, Siberian Craton, South Portuguese Plate, Tamarin Craton, Tepla Barananan Terrain, Ukrainian Shield, Southwest Shield of the East European Craton. The Valius Plate is a subconducted ocean basin. Remnants found in the Alps and the northern Penninic Napes. We have a Yangtze Craton, Yakutsk Craton. We have an Indo-Australian Wajara Craton, Bahandari, Budaklahatan, Dewara Craton, Kumara Craton, Galler Craton, Indian Craton, Naruma Terrain, Pilbara Craton, Yilgam Craton, Australian Shield, Zealandia, containing New Zealand and New Caledonia, Samoa Plate, and Lord Howe Rise. We got a North American plate. We got Avalonia, microcontinent in the Paleozoic era, named for the Avalon Peninsula in Newfoundland. The Carolina Plate, exotic terrain from central Georgia to central Virginia. How about that? How about Churchill Craton? Farallon Plate, Florida Plate, Hearn Craton, Laurentia Craton, Insular Plate, Intermontane Plate, Isaganani Plate, Nain Province, North Atlantic Craton, Ray Craton, Sclavia Craton, Slave Craton, Superior Craton, Wyoming Craton, South American Plate. We're almost done. Amazonian Craton, Guania Shield, Rio de la Plata Craton, medium-sized continental block in Uruguay, eastern Argentina, southern Brazil. The Soa Francisco Craton, ancient Craton in the eastern part of South America with outcrops in Minas Gerais, Bahia, Brazil. And the Arequipa Antofalla Craton, including Argentina, Bolivia, China, and Peru. Okay, so that's a lot of tectonic plates. We believe in the plates. We do not believe in bowls. That's just me listing all the plates. They're plate. It's flat. Welcome to Flat Earth.